Hi folks, this is PJ Riley from Lancaster Archery Supply. Here today we're going to do a basic compound bow setup. What we've got here is the Hoyt Ignite. This is a basic bow that a lot of starters use, and we're going to set it up with all the accessories that you would need to shoot it. We have our basic Lancaster Archery Supply accessory package that comes with it. You get a rest, Whisker Biscuit arrow rest. You get a 3-pin bow sight. You got your wrist sling, stabilizer. You got your quiver mount, and you get 5 arrows with it. There's 4 here, but you get 5 arrows. And so what we're going to do is set it up, run through the setups that you can do at home. And what you're going to need to complete this process is you're going to need some D-loop material. You're going to need a set of D-loop pliers. These are special pliers that will grip the bowstring on this side and help you to stretch out the D-loop on that side. You're going to need a set of Allen wrenches, a lighter, a pair of needle nose pliers. These are the special Easton pliers. You can see they've got 2 notches cut out there. We're going to use that to start our D-loop, and these notches give you a place for the string and the D-loop to clip into. And then finally you're going to need a pair of scissors. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to put on our Whisker Biscuit arrow rest. You've got a mounting hole right here in the center of the riser. That's where the rest is going to mount. We'll just start that hand tightened. Get it started with the hand. We're going to take our Allen wrenches here, screw that in, and then just as I get it snug, I'm going to look at it to make sure that it is level up and down behind the riser there, and just snug it in place. All right, next thing we're going to want to do is put on our D-loop. The D-loop is what you're going to connect mechanical release to. A bow like this, compound bow, is meant to be shot with a mechanical release. The D-loop gives us something to connect the release to, so you're not putting your release directly on the string, which can damage the serving. The D-loop also serves as your arrow's knocking point. You're going to set it so that your arrow is going to knock right inside the D-loop. First thing you're going to want to do is fray the starting end, fray one end of the D-loop material. Just flay that out. You're going to burn that in to get a nice bead on there that will hold it in place and keep it from pulling through. To start, you're just going to lay the material on top of the serving, fold the 2 ends under, pull the top end until the bead comes right up against the string there. I'm just going to pull this hand tight to begin with, because now what I'm going to do is set it so that my arrow is perfectly aligned with the rest. What you want to see here is when you knock your arrow, you want the knock to be level with the rest. And so I got to raise that up a little bit. You just eye it up. You want it to be perfectly level or just a touch high. You can eye it up, and once it's in place, I can move my D-loop material up. Now I know I've got the knocking point in the right place. I can take my arrow out. Now I'm going to snug down my D-loop start on that side. Right like that. You can see the bead sits in there perfectly. That's going to prevent it from pulling through. I'm going to take the other end of my D-loop material, go over the string underneath, bring it back around the D-loop material, up over the string and down through. I'm going to pull that hand tight, tighten it with the pliers. Now I'm going to take my scissors, I'm going to cut it back just a little bit, burn it again, cut it right about there. I'm going to fray that out with the end of my scissors here. Now I'm going to burn it so we get another bead. There we go. I'm going to take my needle nose pliers. You can see the start of our D-loop here. I'm just going to thread those pliers through so I can open up the loop a little bit. Take my D-loop pliers, pull them in there. Now I can stretch it out and snug it down. You can see that D-loop's not going to go anywhere. It's anchored in place. Next thing we're going to do is we have our center shot corrected for up and down. Vertical adjustment is set. Now we have to make sure that the rest is set for left and right. So what we do for that is take an arrow and knock it, set it into the rest, and now what you're going to want to do is you're going to look down the string. You're going to want it to be perfectly in line with the cam. You're going to center this string into the grooves of the cam as you look from the back, and when you're looking down, the arrow should split the string in half. So that's what I'm going to do. And to make adjustments, take this screw right here, going to unscrew it so that you can move the rest left and right. So I'm going to set that now. And it is, as it is set now, the arrow is sitting pretty far to the left. Got my rest loosened. Now I'm looking down the string, putting it in the groove of the cam, and I am pulling the rest to the right until the string splits the arrow right down the middle. So my string is in line with my cam, and now my arrow is in line with my string. Now I know my center shot is good. I can tighten this down, and our arrow rest is now set in place. So the next thing that we need to do is put on our sight. And on the back of the bow, you'll see two mounting holes right here. Those are meant for accessories, such as a sight. So we've got our TruGlo sight. We've got two screws here. All we're going to do is put them in these back holes here onto the riser. These holes here, the smaller holes, they are for your quiver. So we don't want to use those. Just put these in and start them. And while we're here, we'll put on our mount, the mounting bracket for our quiver. We've got our two screws right here. They go into this part of the bow right there, as we said. Just line them up. Get them set, and tighten them down. Now that we've got our mounting bracket set in place, we can take our quiver. It's got holes back here that correspond with this little notch sticking out. I just take one of those holes, line it up, turn. Now our quiver is in place. Next is the stabilizer and wrist sling. So we're going to have a sling. We've got a center hole right there that corresponds with the stabilizer mounting bracket. I'm just going to take the wrist sling, put it over the hole. I've got my stabilizer. Screw it in like that. Get it nice and snug. Going to take the cord, and on this Hoyt we've got a piece of the riser that sticks behind your hand. You're going to want to go in front of that, bring it around through, just take it through these three holes, bring it back. You want to make it just a little bit loose. You want to have a little bit of play back here behind your hand. You don't want to pull it down. You don't want it yanking on your hand. You want to have a little give there. So now the bow is ready to shoot, and one of the first things you're going to want to do is set your sights so that you know how to aim at your target. On this sight here, we've got a set screw on the bottom that Adjusting that allows you to move the sight left and right. And then there's a screw inside this tube that allows us to move the sight up and down for those adjustments. Just to get you to the range, you can look down the string of the bow, line the string up with the center hole of your arrow rest, and as you do that, if you want to just put your sight pins just on the left side of your string, of your bowstring for a right-handed shooter, it's going to be on the right side for a left-handed shooter. That'll get you close to where you want to hit. It's not going to be exact, but it gives you a starting point for when you go out on the range. So that's the basic setup for a compound bow. This will work. This basic setup will work for any compound bow with any accessories. There's going to be slight differences, but that's the basics. Thanks for watching today. If you have any questions, you can check us out at LancasterArchery.com.